Here we go again.
So out of the 50,000 plus comments posted on social, I only saw a handful that even considered the possibility of a bus owner being a more aspirational position and recognizing that I am actually speaking and pouring into the ascension of black men when I said what I said. But see, no, some of y'all were too busy naming and shaming me personally and black women in general as undesirable, gold diggers, and much worse. Now, I suspect that some of y'all are the same men that were bringing home C's and D's on your report cards, only to then be coddled by parents that said, well, that's okay, as long as you're doing your best. Well, listen, I love and believe in the excellence of black men. So no, my dear, C's and D's or any other form of mediocrity is not okay. No, I will not create a soft place for you or anybody that I love to fall comfortably into the bigotry of low expectations. So I'm going to say one more time, there's absolutely nothing wrong with driving a bus. My mother Gloria drove one for years. But could it be that black America has been sold a narrative of average, regular, and typical being good enough for us? Well, see, that's called white supremacy. And in this case, it takes the form of conditioning black Americans to happily accept being a permanent American underclass. But see, because I know the truth about black folk in America, no, average is not and will never be good enough for me. And the gag is, I don't think it's good enough for you either.
So, it's worse than we thought. She literally sat there with Iyanla, shaking her head. I told you she had so much stress in her mouth, like she was trying to hold it back. And this is the ignorance that we get. This is the ignorance that we are dealing with. And you know, of course, there are a lot of women in the comments like, you shouldn't settle. You should not settle for less. But that's not the point here. The point here is that Ebony K. Williams is now an avatar for everything that's wrong with this dating market. She says, oh, I never said there was a problem with a bus driver. I just want him to have the aspirations to own the bus. First and foremost, you know what I mean? Buses are expensive. What it really examines here, and I hate to have to put it in these terms, is she's having to come to terms with her real place on the dating market right now. And as a 39-year-old about to be 40 in September, as she said, she's having to come to terms with the fact that she might be forced to lower her standards. I don't care what entrepreneurship you've had, JDs and degrees you've had. You've tried dating outside of your race. You mentioned that in the interview. That didn't work out. So now, something that she was making as a general statement about men, now she's personalized it and made it specifically about black men. Black men, in her estimation, are not performing at a level up to her requirement. Well, I'm just going to tell you, there are a lot of black men that do fit the requirements that you're looking for. There are a lot of black men who aren't C&D students. Hell, you're looking at one. But the fact of the matter is, are those black men going to be interested in you? I could easily go to roasting, you know what I mean? But that's not the point. You have to really look at where you are at on this marketplace. You're not the only one. Of course, there are a lot of other women who are in similar positions. They'll have the perfect man sitting right in front of them and they can't make a decision. They can't move forward to him. And you know, it becomes frustrating. It becomes frustrating because they're elevating themselves above that man for whatever reason. When if they really did an inventory, is educated, makes a certain amount of money, above a certain height, no kids, no previous marriages, he's skilled in the bedroom, he looks a certain way, goes to the gym, the world is his oyster. He's able to pick from a pool that you may not realize he has access to. And that is the reason for these comments. So all the women that are saying, yeah, she clapped back, you're supposed to hold your standards. Hey, go right ahead. There was somebody that spoke about this at length. His name was Kevin Samuels. Now, I know I saw a clip earlier that Ebony is familiar with Kevin Samuels. And that means she's familiar with the fate of the women that actually make these type of statements. The fate of the women that have these type of high standards, unrealistic high standards. It applies. It applies. So this is the other thing. You don't even understand what a bus driver makes. especially in somewhere like a New York City. I know there's people on the trash truck that are making six figures in New York City. And you're trying to tell me there's no average working class brother that you could see potentially having a relationship with, unless he owned the trash truck, or I guess unless he owned the bus. I tell you, it's probably not a good investment for him to own the bus, unless he owned a fleet of buses. And unfortunately, as a brother that's been educated, I have to admit, there's a lot of ignorance in higher education. And I apologize if Ebony isn't woman enough to apologize. I apologize to all the working and average brothers who have to listen to this type of stuff, or the brothers that aren't tall enough, that have to traverse this dating market at a disadvantage just because of ignorance like this. This woman right here, working at the Griot of all places, has the nerve. Now, you know I have a background in entertainment. I'm going to tell you, she not pulling down millions of dollars at the Griot. I'm just going to tell you right now. Now, she has some other business enterprises. Hey, that's fine. But it's hard. It's hard for me to think you're in a position where you can throw stones. I don't know everybody you've dated, obviously, but Twitter's going to do Twitter. Since you're talking about black men specifically now, that's all we probably need to see. Go where you're celebrated. No, that's petty. He's dating a 25-year-old now, probably. Okay, let's go to some of the comments here. Ebony K. Williams could have just said that given her social and economic status, it's her preference not to date blue-collar workers like bus drivers. Stand 10 toes down on that if you want to. But all this talk about black excellence and aspirations is nonsense. 100%. You're not fooling nobody. And at the end of the day, it's your right. It's your right to date whatever you want. This is an interesting one. Ebony K. Williams speaking down on men who drive buses is exactly why the white feminist movement has created an entire generation of black women in their 30s and 40s who are unmarried, and why more older men are marrying younger. My father drove a bus for 40 years and put me and my sister through college. I'm able to have the life I have because of that bus driver. I'm going to say something very harsh, but it needs to be said. The whole "I'm an independent, strong black woman, hear me roar" BS is exactly why many single mothers are lifetime girlfriends. I mean, his statements echo what I was saying last video. And you know, there's a lot of women that really still don't get it. So may I ask what a better delivery might sound like? I'm genuinely curious because I'm not sure if it would help if the message isn't appreciated. Nobody would ever ask Jennifer Aniston in a million years if she would date a bus driver. Y'all are mad at Ebony K. Williams. Most black girls know what this is. No, we realize the black community is in a specific position. And as a fact that the black community is built the way it is suffering the way it is, you have to realistically understand what it would take to build that black community up. And it's ignorant. It's ignorant when you look at the numbers that these women can't understand that they should be able to build something with a man that makes less than him. That is not settling. That is actually doing what you're exactly supposed to be doing. And when you say other communities don't do it, you are lying. There are white guys who are stay-at-home dads married to executives. Tell me I'm lying. Lawyers, attorneys, doctors, and never the problem, a plumber married to a doctor. Don't even play. It's like she has no responsibility for the platform she's speaking on, you know? The gaslighting, divestment babble isn't working, sweetheart. Nice try. Give it up for him. Ebony K. Williams has an estimated worth of $3 million. Only 8% of all millionaires in the U.S. are black. And believe me, 92% of black people not being millionaires is not a function of laziness or whatever pathology she ascribes to black folks. Her screed here is tired. Ignorance. It's ignorance. That's what it is. It's just ignorant. And no matter how educated she is, she can't get past the fact that she's being 100% ignorant. Ebony K. Williams should have kept it moving. That response didn't help. Exactly. Because what it's happening here is she's now alienating the people that would be the Griot's customer. I don't know if she doesn't give a damn about it, but I would almost think she would get suspended on a regular network for making such brash statements about any other group. But you talk about black men, you can do whatever you want. You talk about men in general, you can do whatever you want. Haven't you noticed? And this one. I'm glad Ebony K. Williams stood her ground. Black women are not obligated to lower their dating standards in order to accommodate black men's mediocrity. And if a mediocre men are so wonderful, can somebody ask Iyanla why she divorced hers? Well, that's going to lead me to my next point. Ebony sat there with Iyanla Van Sant, trying to help her. An older woman who stepped out of her way to offer some advice to a younger woman. Ebony took that in for the 18 minutes of video that we saw. Took it in. And this is what she responded with. The fact that she didn't understand a damn thing this woman was saying. She didn't understand anything. Not only did she not understand it, she disregarded it. And then we asked what is wrong with the black community. You're getting wisdom there. I don't want to hear nothing later about, I didn't know. Nobody told me. Nobody tried to correct me. And this is one thing I don't want older women to get discouraged of. Because that was the argument for why older women weren't trying to make a difference, weren't trying to get through to these women. It's because they don't want to listen. They want to continue to bump their head. And as I said in the last video, if you recognize yourself in any of the statements that Ebony said, maybe seeing it in front of you, seeing the dysfunction in front of you will give you an alarm to make a change. Once again, I would like to not only apologize to the average workers, the bus drivers out there who keep our city going, who keep our world going, the truck drivers, the plumbers, the ditch diggers. I would also like to apologize to Iyanla Vanzant. Iyanla Vanzant did her damnedest to spread this message. And hopefully some other women can see what Ebony couldn't see. Anyway, if you like this video, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all uploads. This is Faucette Media.